how this busy physician and serial entrepreneur went from 8 single-family rental properties to a 12-plex and a duplex, and why you should trade out of your single family rentals and get into multifamily. That's what we're talking about today. If you're new here, welcome back. Tony Stephan here with my wife, Andrea. Together, we own 258 units of multifamily real estate, and this channel and this content is designed to help you get into the game because we believe that owning one small multifamily deal will truly change your life. And today we have a very, very, very special episode. We have one of our favorite clients, Dr. Ades, here with us. Dr. Ades was a client of Stephan Group, had 8 single family rentals at one time, did a massive 1031 exchange and bought a 12-plex and a duplex. So went from 8 units, all scattered site all over, to 14 units in just 2 different spots. He's also a serial entrepreneur and a doctor. He was just giving me medical advice before, so we're super excited to have him here. Can you just tell us a little bit about your background? So you're a physician, you own businesses, you own real estate. Give us your background, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I grew up originally from Nigeria, was born here, came back here when I was 16 years of age, went to college in Chicago, Illinois, and then went to med school in Indiana, and then did my residency and training in Royal Oak, Michigan, down the street, studied surgery, and I'm a current colorectal surgeon.
Love that. And you love registered dietitians as well.
I do.
Yes.
I love dietitians.
Yeah. Before all this, man, that was it. Registered dietitian. Love that. So physician, working crazy hours, a very demanding career, probably one of the most well-respected careers in America. Where did the entrepreneurial side come from? Because when you think physician, you're like, man, they make great money. They're set. Probably don't have to do anything else. You think like they're at the yacht club on the weekend or the country club on the weekend. Where did the entrepreneurial drive come from?
Interestingly, when I was growing up in Nigeria, both my parents are accountants. My mom always had a side hustle. Her side hustle was she sold candy. She was like a major distributor of candy. And my dad was into real estate. And he would buy a land and build homes on it and rent out to people. And so I'd always had this dream that I always wanted to get into real estate, but I never found the way to do it. I was always scared. I thought I didn't have enough money to start. And then eventually one day someone said, hey, I have a small home in Taylor. And I knew this person. So I figured, well, if I buy the home and something messes up, I can call the person. Right? So that was my first foray into real estate. So once I bought that, I think I had the bug bite and I was like, oh man, this is cool. I can do this, and started buying more and more.
You said your dad would buy land and build real estate.
He would buy land, he would build on it,
Wow.
and then he'll rent it out.
That's amazing. Something you said that really, really stuck out, and I didn't expect you to say. You said, even as a physician, you were like worried, like, hey, do I have enough income to invest in real estate? It just goes to show everyone listening and watching this, like everybody feels like it's a scary thing to put my hard-earned money into real estate. Like I said, even a physician who is probably, we look at the highest income careers in America, physicians always top 5, top 3, right? So I really appreciate you sharing that, because a lot of people, that's their biggest, would you agree, their biggest struggle buying a deal is like, I got to take the money and put it in now.
Yeah, they just see, they think of like, what's the down payment going to be, which is totally normal to feel that way. But yeah, it doesn't matter what job they have, they always feel that way.
I think there's also a misconception that people think that you have, which is a misconception that I had, is you have to have this 20% down to be able to buy real estate. And obviously we know that that's not always true. There are also different ways you can get into real estate that I'm sure you guys will talk about.
So, all right, you bought the first house in Taylor. What year was that?
Right before COVID.
So first house in Taylor, you got the bug. Like, how did that go? Was it good?
It was good. I bought it from an office manager and it was cash flowing. I didn't have to do much repairs on it, and then owned it for a couple of years. And then when I was driving to the hospital one day, saw a home right in the backyard of the hospital, which has always been my dream. This was at the peak of the market then, because this was during COVID when all the prices were crazy. And I said, no matter what, I got to buy this house. Came to the inspection, talked to the owner, found out that the owner of that home owned all the homes on that street. Talked to him and said, hey, I really want to do what you're doing. And he said, okay, if you can buy the homes little by little, I'll sell them to you little by little. And so little by little, I bought 1 or 2, and then found a 4-plex in Ferndale. That was when I did a little bit more of a kind of rehab. That was my first foray into rehab. And one of the units in the 4-plex needed major work. Took some time, did that, was able to rent that out also, cash flow from that.
All that started by just seeing a piece of property you liked, seeing it was for sale, taking a little bit of initiative, like walking in there and having a conversation. You bought direct from the owner?
No, I used a broker, but he basically was able to facilitate buying it from me.
So you kind of followed the journey we followed. House, like duplex, 4-plex. That is awesome, man. What did you love about single family?
Nothing.
Okay. Great. Was it just easy to keep doing it?
Like you said in the beginning, I never foresaw myself getting, I mean, I thought, yeah, I would get into apartments, but that was going to be like a 10-year plan. My plan was to get a bunch of single family, learn the process, eventually save up a lot of more money, and then get into the apartment business. And then I think I came across Andrea, and I came across you, and then I think went to one of your seminars, and then I realized, oh wait, I can actually do this. And I talked to Andrea, and then that's when I said, oh, we should just 1031 these into a multi-unit.
What did you not like about single family?
So what I didn't like about single family was the fact that when I bought it at the height of the market, and so they were pricey, and so they wouldn't cash flow if I had just done long-term rental. And so a lot of the single families I bought, I had to do short-term rentals for them, which is part of why I didn't really like it, because it became more of a business. So I had to hire a manager and things like that. So those were one of the things I didn't like about it. And the cash flow from a single family, which is something I know you always say, is if one person leaves, for example, my multi-unit now, I have not had one unit fill in the last probably 3 months, but I'm still making payments on my mortgage, and I'm still paying the utilities, and I'm even still cash flowing. If this was a single family, not having a tenant in 3 months is bad. That would be money coming out of my pocket to pay for that.
I really appreciate you sharing that with everybody, because that is the message we try to preach, and something we had to learn the hard way too. I feel like everybody thinks they need to start with single family, and it's a great place to get started because it's just simple. It makes sense. Like, I see a house, I know how to buy a house, I've lived in a house, or I live in a house, right? But you hit the nail on the head. There's really not much cash flow there, and what little cash flow that is there can be gone if a roof needs to be repaired, a foundation has a crack. Homes in Royal Oak, Michigan's a great market, but they're older homes, 1950s, because we owned houses in Royal Oak too. A tenant moves out, you're looking at least 2 months vacant, because tenant moves out, maybe they move out on the 15th. Well, you're not moving anyone in that month. You have a payment on the 1st. You got to get it ready, clean it up, maybe paint it up, touch it, whatever. So all your cash flow is gone for that year because of that 2-month vacancy. And I love what you said. You have a 12-plex, which we'll talk about. You've had one unit vacant, the deal still cash flows. You pay all the utilities. You pay the mortgage.
I pay the mortgage. I pay the guy that maintains the place.
There's even enough there on it to pay a manager, which is amazing. And that's why we push you guys. And that's why we preach you guys, get into small multifamily, because small multifamily is a business. Single family homes are not. Something else you mentioned too is single family homes are only based on comparable sales. It's only based on the market. So if you bought at the high end of the market when rates were 3% and you're like, hey, I've got some equity in here, but I want to cash out refinance, but I can't because I'm going to 7%. There's no cash flow here. And my deal, even though I've got this 4-plex and I'm getting $2,000 in rent per unit, everyone else is getting $1,000, I can only be valued based on what everyone else is valued. It's a little demotivating, right? How did you sell all those properties, hit a 1031 window? Because that's most people's big mental barrier is, I want to do a 1031, but once I sell my property, I have 45 days to identify a replacement, and you can identify 3 replacements, and then you have 6 months to close. How did you guys do it?
It was a lot, right?
Yeah.
We sold a lot at once, but I think part of it was too, like, our broker relationship with who we bought it from was one of them. One of the single families had to go into another property. That one I remember, I was like, this came on market, I'm going today. And we had like 1 or 2 days left. Yeah. That one cut it close, but I put in the offer. I was just quick on that one. But yeah, the 12 unit, I think that was a lot was like broker relationship. And then making
we had bought deals from the broker who listed the 12 unit.
And then also too, again, just the timing of it. We didn't list everything day one. We had to make sure like the timing was right.
What was the strategy?
Yeah, so we always just look at like the properties and like how long they'll take to sell. So if they're going to take a little bit longer, then we might list that one first compared to something else. And then another one too, like had a tenant, like the lease in there, how the lease was structured, that one had to be sold at a different time. So again, it just comes down to like the leases, the portfolio. You can't just be like, we're listing everything day one. So
it was strategy. I mean, she sold them one by one. I think the Taylor one was the one we sold first or something. Part of it was also, I think, it was Andrea's relationships really, because some of the buyers were people in your network that you knew.
So working with an experienced broker and agent who understands the 1031 exchange, super important. So you bought the 12-plex. You've owned it for a year now? What's the plan with it? Are you going to hold it for a long time, 1031 out of that to something bigger?
I'm gonna, once I really stabilize it, see what the value is, and probably either take money out of it to buy another one, or 1031 is something bigger. Those are the 2 options.
Isn't it cool knowing now your hard work's going to pay off? So $200, let's say you increase the rent on 12 units, right? That's $2,400 a month. It's cool. It's more cash flow. But $2,400 a month, 12 months in the year, that's $28,800 in new NOI. That's in Clausen?
Clausen.
That's a 6 cap market,
Yes.
maybe 6.5. That's a great market. So let's just be conservative. Let's say it's 6.5% cap rate divided by 0.065. That's $443,000 in valuation increase. That's what single family homes can't do. So then you could do a cash out refinance. You're getting money out tax-free because this is debt and debt is not taxed. And then you can do whatever you want with that money. That's what those single family homes could never do. You can't take a 400 grand home and make it worth 800 grand. You can take $1 million multifamily and make it worth 1.5 million. That's the way it works. Was it like a big learning curve going from single family to multifamily, or is it pretty simple?
The fear is just buying it. I would have had the same fear buying the first time I bought a single family, the same fear as buying a multifamily. Same fears you have about people calling you. Like, I get more calls from my duplex from one of the tenants than even my 12 unit. My 12 unit, I don't really get any calls from them. So it's all tenant dependent. It has nothing to do with the property. If you have a multi-unit, it's easier to have, not necessarily have someone manage it. I manage it myself, but you have someone maintaining it.
Yep.
You know, when you have someone maintaining it, you just tell them what the problem is and they go fix it. When you have a single family, the psyche is there that you want to go do everything yourself because it's smaller.
100%, dude, couldn't agree more. I love that you said that. 12 units, he gets less calls and maintenance requests than a duplex because a duplex knows who owns that. And you probably somehow, some way have interaction with them. So then they know, oh, I'm just going to text Ade. It's Saturday, 3 a.m. My air's out. I'm calling him. The apartment, they probably don't even know who you are. That is also the power of multifamily is they understand probably, hey, a business owns this, a big group owns this. So there's no one just to text. So you're a serial entrepreneur. You own multiple paint franchises.
I own a paint franchise with multiple territories.
And you're married and you have children. Tell us about the paint franchise. And if you guys are local and looking for, I mean, you've done some of our properties and our units, you know what I mean? So definitely give a plug to that. Where did that come from?
Part of the whole real estate thing was wealth building, right? I wanted to build wealth. And actually, really, COVID was what hit it for me. When I realized that with COVID, I couldn't operate, or I was operating less. And if I don't operate, I don't make money. And so I thought, well, I needed to figure out a way to build some stream of income. Passive income is what I was thinking. And I realized that there's no such thing as passive income. And then I realized, well, this real estate, of course, you guys are doing great. But in my mind, real estate was like a slow way to get to build that wealth. I started looking into buying a business. I think I found there's a lady on YouTube, on internet called Cody Sanchez. I said, wow, I didn't realize that anybody could just buy a business. Because same way I didn't realize that anybody could buy a multi-unit. I went down that route and found a franchise. Always love home services because I want to provide something different. The same way I look at patients and provide excellent care, the same thing I want to do that with clients. And then the painting thing came about called That One Painter. And so I have 5 territories in Southeast Michigan.
Well, you know what? AI will never be able to paint a building. Well, not today, but that's why I love that you said service-based business. I feel like that will be the least impacted by AI. AI is going to wipe out a lot of professions, but like real estate, we're not going to live in the metaverse. Can't even get Wi-Fi in a Delta flight half the time. Sounds like big thing I think people listening to this can take away from your story, and it's just been great, is never settle. Always be looking for ways to create multiple flows of income. You're in one of the most highest respected professions. Took your earned income, invested in real estate. It's not really passive. You're not dealing with the tenants, termites, and toilets. Someone has to, but you have to manage the people who do. You have to look at the books. Because if you're just totally hands-off and passive, you're getting the minimal return, if any return. So if they want to work with you guys, where do they go for that?
They go to That One Painter, North Detroit, online. They can fill out a form, or they can give me a call at 248-636-1748. I'll be happy to take a look at the project.
What would you say to someone watching this or listening to this who's maybe just like you? You're a high-income earner. Maybe they got a couple of single-family homes. They know they want to get out of that single-family grind. They're scared to make that jump. They're scared to sell those properties. Like, what would you say to them?
I would say, don't be afraid. I think the stress of owning a multi-unit is less than the stress of owning a single unit. Even though I owned 8 homes, I was always worried about something going on in all of them. With the 12 unit, I drive by there to make sure everything's good. I was more afraid when I bought that first single family than when I bought the multi-unit. Now, that might be because I already had some single family units to deal with, but I think if you want to grow a real estate portfolio, starting with multi-unit is the best way.
You obviously have ambition and you've never settled. What would you just say about that for someone listening who's maybe feeling like a little complacent, like maybe in a rut? What pushes you to do so much?
In life, there's no ceiling. I listen to other people, I watch other people on the internet, and I realize that they all started from humble beginnings, kind of like you. That tells me that the world is your oyster. You can make it whatever you want to make it. As long as you have the tenacity and the drive and the resources, you can get there.
Thank you so much for sharing. This was beyond beneficial. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. As always, we appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the content, this was extremely valuable. Drop a comment below. If you want to learn more about working with Dr. Ades Paint Franchise, check it out. We'll put the information in the description. And hey, if you're watching this and you got inspired by what we're doing here, we are here to help you get into multifamily real estate. Maybe you have some single family homes that you're considering trading up with. Maybe you're looking to buy your first multifamily, or maybe you just want to start with education. We have the tools for you, whether it's our mentorship program, whether it is a live event, whether it's just working with us as a real estate brokerage to help you buy, sell, or invest into real estate. Click the links in the description or just reach out to us on Instagram. As always, thank you so much for being here. We'll talk soon. Thanks.